Hello guys, today I will be talking about four different companies, four companies in the construction market. The first one is Fastenal, the second one is Johnson Controls, Masco, and finally Ingersoll Rand. Now, Fastenal, in terms of the share price, at the beginning of the pandemic, the company was at 34.88 and it reached a peak of 64.06. In terms of earnings, the company met its second, and bet its third and fourth quarterly earning from last year. And as you can see, the estimate for its first quarterly earning this year is higher than the first quarterly earning estimate from last year. Johnson Controls at the beginning of the pandemic was at 39.45 and reached a peak of 81.31. The company bet the fourth quarterly earning from 2021. They met their first quarterly earning and second quarterly earning from last year. They bet their third quarterly earning from last year, and fourth quarterly earning estimate is greater than the fourth quarterly earning estimate from 2021. Masco was at 47.52 at the beginning of the pandemic and reached a peak of 70.22. The company missed its fourth quarterly earning from 2021. They bet their first quarterly earning in 2022, but then they missed their second and third quarterly earning. As you can see, the fourth quarterly earning estimate for 2022 is at the same level as the estimate for 2021. Ingersoll Rand at the beginning of the pandemic was at 35.31 and reached a peak of 61.87. The company bet its fourth quarterly earning for 2021. They bet their first, second, and third quarterly earning from last year, and the estimate for their fourth quarterly earning from last year is greater than the fourth quarterly earning estimate for 2021. Now let us talk about their financial statements. The first financial statement I'd like to cover is Fastenal. Fastenal increased its revenue from $5,333,000,000 in 2020 to $6 billion in 2022. Subsequently, they also increased their income from $790 million in 2020 to $925 million in 2022. This is very good news to us investors, and hopefully they continue to increase their revenue and income. The financial statement overall is very good, but there are a few things I'd like to see happen in the near future. Firstly, I'd like to see a reduction in receivables. Currently, receivables for Fastenal are larger than their current liabilities, and hopefully they manage to reduce their receivables in the near future. This would improve their financial statement, would improve their financing, and would improve their growth. Lastly, I'd like to see a reduction in financial activity, a reduction in dividend payments. Instead of using their cash on dividends, I'd like to see them increase their investment activities or increase their cash reserves. This would improve the company's stability, their financing, and if they increase their investment activity, they might improve their growth and their future profitability. In any case, their financial statement is good, but it could be improved. Now let us move on to the next company. The second company is Johnson Controls. The company increased its revenue from 22 billion to 25 billion in 2022, and they increased their income from 795 million to 1,723 million in 2022. The company's revenue to income ratio is bad. The company earned 25 billion, but it only managed to retain 1 billion out of it. This is concerning to investors. They need to reduce their expenses, their cost of goods sold, and their general administrative expenses, and they need to increase their income. Hopefully, they manage to do this in the near future. On the topic of income, the company's income equity ratio is bad. The company has too many long-term assets which no longer generate a profit for the company. They're too expensive, and the company should sell some of their long-term assets. They should sell them and use the cash to either increase their cash reserves, or perhaps they could use it to reduce their long-term liabilities. The next thing I'd like to talk about is their investment and financial activity. The company did reduce their financial activity by a drastic amount. In 2020, it was at negative 2,824 million, and it fell to negative 516 million in 2022. Now, this is a good step for the company, but I'd like to see a further decrease in financial activity in the near future. The company should purchase less of their own stock. They should use the cash somewhere else, for example, in investment activity, or again, they could reduce their long-term liabilities. As for investment activity, the company recently acquired Rescue Air Systems, SARS, a company which provides equipment to firefighters. Whether this investment is profitable for the company is yet to be determined. In any case, that is all I have to say about Johnson Controls. The company's financial statement is not very good. Their financial condition is not good. They need to reduce their financial activity, and they need to reduce their long-term assets by a large margin, a significant margin. Now let's move on to Masco Corporation. Masco Corporation increased its revenue from 6,707,000,000 in 2020, and it increased its revenue to 8,375,000,000 in 2022. Unfortunately, income fell for the company during this period. In 2021, it was at 1,276,000,000 and fell to 478 million in 2022. This is a large drop in income, and it is highly concerning to investors. The company did increase its revenue, but at the same time, expenses rose for the company disproportionately. Hopefully, the company manages to reduce their expenses without reducing revenue, and hopefully income goes back to its 2021 level in the near future. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the company's financial activity. The company has very high financial activity. In 2020, it was at negative 1,291,000,000, and it rose to negative 1,298,000,000. I'd like to see a reduction in financial activity, a reduction in the repurchase of their own stock, and I'd like to see the cash be used somewhere else. For example, they could reduce their long-term liabilities, they could increase their cash reserves, or they could increase their investment activity. The company's investment activity during this time period was very, very low. This indicates to me that the company does not have any future plans, any ideas on how to increase their profitability, their growth, and it is highly concerning to me. Hopefully they manage to improve their position in the near future. They manage to make wise investments which improve the company's profitability. That is all I have to say about Masco. Before I go to the last company, Ingersoll, I'd like to mention that each of these companies should have a large inventory. They are construction companies, and it's only natural for them to have a high inventory. In some cases, a large inventory would be concerning to me, but in this case, it's not. The final company I'd like to talk about is Ingersoll. The company increased its revenue from 2 billion to 5,152,000,000 in 2022. They also increased their income from 159 million to 565 million. This is good news to investors. However, I'd still like to see a further increase in income. The ratio between revenue and income is not so good. The same goes with income to equity ratio. Hopefully the company manages to increase income further. The company has made a lot of investments. They have, and you can see this from their financial statement, investment activity rose from negative 54 million to negative 1 billion in 2022. The company acquired SPX Flow Unit, and they're in the process of acquiring Holtec, Hydroprokov, and Hanya. The company is investing in its future growth, and it wants to extend its influence in the market. Now, whether these acquisitions turn out to be profitable for the company is yet to be determined. Financial activity rose from negative 11 million to negative 1,157 million. This rise in financial activity is due to the purchase of treasury stock by the company. Treasury stock is, well, it's basically like cash. The company can easily convert the stock into cash if they need to. And in certain degree, treasury stock is currently better than cash, especially since interest rate is rising. In any case, it's a good thing and I don't see anything bad in it. What I'm concerned about is the receivables. The receivables rose from 459 million in 2020 to 948 million in 2022. The company needs to reduce their receivables. It would improve their stability and it would improve their growth condition. In any case, that is all I have to say about Ingersoll Rand. Let us now rate all four of the companies. I'm going to place Johnson Controls and Masco in the careful section. I like to see a reduction in financial activity from both of these companies, a improvement in revenue and income, reduction in long-term assets, and a reduction in receivables. If the companies do this, then they might be able to reach the okay section, but for now I'm placing them in the careful section. Fastenal and Ingersoll Rand will be placed in the okay section. Here, the company, I'd like to see again a further increase in revenue and income. I'd like to see how the acquisitions go for Ingersoll Rand. They made large investments, and hopefully these investments profit them. And that is all for now. In the next video, I'll talk about ASML, Crocs, Fortinet and Lululemon. These companies were advertised in an article, The Model is Full, and I'm going to review all 4 of them. In any case, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe, and see you next time.